If you would like to continue conversations, please take them outside to the hallway. These chambers pick up the echoes quite easily, and it's difficult to hear in this room, so we would appreciate it. I'm Councilmember Huizar, the chair of the committee. This is the Planning and Land Use Management Committee. I've been joined by Councilmember Marquise Harris-Dawson, Councilmember Mitch Englander, and Councilmember Felipe Fuentes, and Councilmember Gilbert Cedillo. And we're going to start the agenda. If we could go to item 10, we'll note and file item 10, which is a report from the Director of Planning. Item number 3, we will approve on consent. Any objections? No objections. That item is approved on consent. Items 4, 5, and 6 will be continued to the 19th of January. 4, 5, and 6 continued to the 19th of January. And item number 8, we will continue to, we have cards on item 8, but we will, we've been requested to continue that for 60 days.
So, Councilman, this item is in council tomorrow. So the deadline to act is tomorrow. So to resolve that issue, you would need to recommend 2 things that can be included as part of the committee report to council tomorrow, because the committee report has been noticed that will be submitted in council tomorrow by the clerk. So the recommendations would be to approve an extension of time as requested by the applicant of 120 days. And the second recommendation would be to refer the file back to Plum for further review.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that last
Yes,
part?
the 2 recommendations that would be embedded in the committee report would be to approve an extension of time as requested by the applicant of 120 days, and 2, to refer the file back to Plum for further review.
Put that in the form of a motion. How would we word it?
It will be that, precisely as that, and it'll be included in the committee report the clerk will prepare, which will be in council tomorrow. So the recommendations from Plum, you're approving an extension of time as requested by the applicant of 120 days, and you're referring the file back to Plum for further review.
Okay, let's move that item, seconded by Councilmember Harris-Dawson. Any objections? Seeing no objections. Yes, City Attorney. As suspected, we will take public comments since there have been some submitted with that proposed action.
Okay.
So let me take those cards. Stephen Weaver. And after Stephen Weaver, we have Erin Beth or Battelle.
To the Honorable Chair and to the committee, if it pleases, I have copies of our report that we filed with respect to our appeal on the application. I represent Sunset Landmark Investments, LLC. I'd like to pass the copies to the council.
Could you give them to the clerk, please?
May I proceed?
Yes, and appellants have 5 minutes. All other public speakers have 1 minute.
Councilmember Huizar, you're taking cards on this item, my understanding is that you are planning on continuing the item, not hearing the appeal today. So you can hear the public comment cards, but the appeal will be continued per the request. So it's just the comments today. It's not the full appeal.
Yes.
Okay, and may I reserve 1 minute of my time for a noise expert that have submitted a comment card as well?
Pardon me?
I'm sorry, never mind. All the individuals who have submitted comment cards will get 5 minutes, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Appellants have 5 minutes, and then any other speaker has 1 minute.
Okay, great. Just so the council's aware, we have an individual, Aaron.
Oh, I'm sorry. Say that again?
Agent Coruscani, City Attorney's Office. So again, because you're continuing this item, but you're taking an action to submit a recommendation to council, you're hearing comments, public comment, but you're not hearing the appeal today. So you can limit it to 1 minute per speaker.
I get it, yes. So the official public comment period will be held in council, or when we return it, right? Yeah.
The file by council is sent back here.
Send back, okay. And so then that means we're doing 1 minute per general public comment on this item.
No problem.
Yeah, the appeal will be held when the item comes
Okay.
back.
Understood. And just so the council is aware, another person will be speaking on behalf of the appellant today who has done a noise study, but he will be speaking more at the appeal. This matter is a very unwieldy large hotel project that's is going to be in a revitalization district, but unfortunately the height and the FAR is in excess of its neighbors. It's in excess of the norm for the usage. It's going to create a lot of issues with respect to traffic and noise and in general the aesthetic quality of the area. I'll speak more on this at the appeal, but basically we contend that the applicant did not follow the proper procedures in requesting the increase of a 2-to-1 FAR, and then in addition he did not follow the procedures in requesting the 4.5-to-1 FAR. Again, the project fails for a number of reasons. It's out of character with the community, and we respectfully submit our comments to the council.
Great. Thank you. Aaron, is it Beth or Bettel? Welcome.
Hi, I'm Aaron Batty, and I'm actually going to speak to the response to the community questions. There's a specific memorandum that was issued by Pomeroy Environmental Services, and the main point I want you to kind of get explained is that they keep referring to construction noise as a peak construction noise. What they're referring to is a table in the mitigated negative deck that is actually referring to an average. It's an LEQ. The table says peak noise, but says average. But says LEQ at the end. So what they mean, they're saying that's the maximum hour or the maximum average noise level they're anticipating. But it's not a peak. They keep trying to say that it's just like it's only an instantaneous noise or something along that. It's not. It's an average noise level, and they're reporting average noise levels of as high as 120 dB, which is standing 200 feet away from a jet engine.
Thank
so
you.
The average would be very, very, very loud.
Thank you. Michael Gonzalez, representing the applicant. Doug Haynes, Gideon Krakoff.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair, Honorable Council members. Thank you for your time today, and obviously we'll be here again on this matter in the near future. I would like to request that at Council tomorrow, first the applicant does agree to additional time to hear this matter. If it is part of the motion referring this to Council, if we could have a date certain to come back to this committee so the matter would be heard. I believe the 26th of January could be available for such a hearing if that could be part of the motion. And the prior comments were relative to the appeals, which are obviously not before this body today. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll work that out with CD 13. Thank you. Doug Haynes, Gideon Krakoff, Fran Offenhauser.
Good afternoon. My name is Doug Haynes, and most of you are probably unfamiliar with this project, so I want to point out Wilcox is a very narrow street. This is just south of the Hollywood Post Office. If you're familiar with that area, you know it's frequently used for emergency services, for police going up and down Wilcox, and also fire services. It's a route they frequently use. This is the wrong location for this project. I'll point out that during the Hollywood Community Plan update, we were frequently told 185 meetings. At no meeting was there ever a proposal for anything along these lines. The FAR, they're proposing 5.5 to 1 is almost double what was proposed, 3 to 1 with a 75-foot height limit. This is totally out of scale with this area, and the proposal was, I'll quote from the matrix, to maintain the height compatible with scale of adjacent historic resources and protect identified historic resources. This project would not do that, and I hope you will reject it when it comes back. Thank you.
Thank you. Gideon Krakoff, Fran Offenhauser, and Chris Robertson from CD13.
Honorable Chair, Council members, my name is Gideon Krakow, here on behalf of HERE, Unite Here, Local 11, as well as Robert Montaziegos. We've submitted a letter for the record. That's all I'm here to say. Take a look at the letter. The clients have concern about the project. They support the appeals and currently oppose the vesting zone and height district change. Please look for that letter and please include it in the record. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris Robertson from CD13. Fran Offenhauser, I'm sorry. And then Chris Robertson from CD13.
Thank you. My name is Fran Offenhauser, and I'm here representing Hollywood Heritage, and I am an appellant on this case. And as I think you will hear in the future when you do hear it, there were many discrepancies both in the process and in the result. So I will be bringing those back to you. But I just wanted to introduce myself to this commission because I don't think you're familiar with me or see me that often. I'm both a developer, an architect responsible for the Academy of Motion Pictures operations at the Oscars at Hollywood and Highland. Historical architect having restored at Union Station. I won't go on. I don't want to trouble you, but I bring a special knowledge to these issues in Hollywood because I was the person, one of the planners at Gruen Associates who drafted the community plan and also sat on the project area committee for the redevelopment area. So I just wanted to introduce myself so that when you see me again and I see you again,
Thank you.
You understand me. Thank you.
Chris Robertson.
Good afternoon, council members. Chris Robertson, Planning Director for Councilmember Mitch O'Farrell. I just wanted to take a minute to express that we concur with the CLA's recommendation to move the matter to council, requesting that council extend the time to act and refer it back to committee. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. So we'll have that motion stand with no objections. So ordered. Thank you. Next item is item number 7. We could take on consent if the CLA can read that into the record, please.
Sure. Item 7, Councilman, is a project in CD12. It's a general plan amendment and a zone change for the demolition of an existing church, nursery school, and related buildings, and it's to construct 58 single-family detached townhome condominiums.
Okay. So we'll have that on consent with no objections, and so ordered. We're going to now go to item number 1.
Sure. Item 1, Councilman, is an appeal by Cheryl Branch. She's appealing the action of the City Planning Commission as it relates to the approval of a conditional use permit for the use of a correctional facility in CD8.
Thank you. I'm going to ask staff to please come up and give a brief presentation on this, and then we will have Councilmember Harris Dawson lead the conversation on this item. Staff here on this item? Yes. Okay. Thank you. Is there A brief overview, please.
Brief overview. Sure. My name is Michelle Singh with the Department of City Planning. Before you today is an appeal of CPC 2015-2119-CU. On October 8, 2015, the City Planning Commission approved a conditional use permit to allow the reuse of an existing building for transitional housing and support services to former inmates and parolees transitioning back to society. At the commission hearing and at the public hearing in August, there was no major opposition to the project. The project is composed of 140 beds in shared bedrooms, outdoor recreational space, common dining areas, a library and computer room, administrative office space, and a multi-purpose classroom. The project will occupy an existing building that is 2 stories in height and approximately 17,000 square feet in size. It's located near the intersection of Vernon and Western in the South Los Angeles Community Plan and is operated as a rehabilitation facility between 1982 and 2009. The appellant contends that the Planning Commission erred in its decision to approve the conditional use permit because the proposed location is not consistent with the intent of the existing South Los Angeles Community Plan. Staff is recommending that the City Council uphold the Commission's determination and deny the appeal because the facility at this location is suitable and appropriate for a commercially zoned area. The City's goals for commercially zoned areas are to serve daily needs of surrounding residents and is implemented through the C2 zone, which allows a conditional use permit request for an institutional use such as the Bridgeback facility. In addition, the City's general plan health and wellness element elevates health as a priority for the City's future growth and development and strives to achieve better health and social equity through its policies and programs, and specifically calls for the reintegration of the formerly incarcerated and for the City to support programs for previously incarcerated persons that address a full spectrum of needs such as job training, secondary education opportunities, substance abuse counseling, mental health treatment, housing services, etc., to foster health of community reintegration, and the type of support services provided to Bridgeback participants offer lasting social and economic benefits not only for those individuals who are successfully reintegrated into society, but these benefits will have far-reaching positive impacts in the broader context of the community. Thank you. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. We're going to go through public comment first. I am looking for the appellant's card, Cheryl Branch. Did you fill out a card? Did you fill out a card? No? To speak? Yes, we do, just for the record. But did you want to speak on the item first, and then if you could get your card from the
I definitely do.
clerk and fill that out.
Do you want me to fill it out now or later?
Afterwards is fine.
Okay, thank you so much. Again, my name is Cheryl Branch, and for 25 years, I've been advocating for and reforming the broken criminal justice system here in our country. And make no mistake, we support resources for reentry programs, but not just any program at any location. I took the liberty to make about 6 slides to try to show you what some of my concerns are. The transitional housing that is proposed to be located right at this corner has a number of troublesome built-use commercial facilities. I don't know if you can see really well there, but there's a marijuana dispensary, there's a liquor store right across the street, there's a dilapidated shopping center that's been left behind. Next slide. The crime statistics are a very big concern for me, moving a transitional reentry program at that corner. As you can see, 87 aggregated assaults, 4 homicides in the little circle, 5 rapes, 36 robberies. These are violent crimes, and this is going to be troublesome at that corner. And if that isn't enough, we also have a high concentration of prostitution and narcotics activities right in that little circle where the applicant wants to bring this new program. Next, please. This is a picture of the southwest corner. As you can see, there's liquor store, just not a good corner right there. Next. This is the southwest corner. This is a picture I got of the abandoned mini mall. So there's no commercial activity there where you would want individuals coming home for their second chance. This is their second chance, and this is not the best place for them to thrive and be successful in this neighborhood. It used to be a good place. You're going to hear some folks talk about that. And I knew the founder of this program and this facility, and it was a great place. But this neighborhood is not the best location for us today in 2016. Right across the street, I took that picture. There's a marijuana medical dispensary right there on your right-hand side, and then a smoke shop, liquor store, gambling joint right on the other side. And this is a picture of people loitering right out in front, sitting with chairs. They congregate at the corner, up and down, east and west of the facility and behind the facility as well. I think I have one right there in the alley. So this isn't a good site. This is just not. So I recommend that the Planning Use Committee, that you deny this proposal today. And additionally, my credibility is that I spent 10 years as a Los Angeles County Alcohol and Drug Commissioner. I worked with the County Alcohol and Drug Program Administration to site new residential and outpatient facilities, and I still currently am the only South LA faculty in the UCLA Addiction Technology Treatment Center. And from my professional expertise, this is not the type of setting and corner that we want councilmen to bring into our community at this time. So I just don't recommend this. Thank you.
Thank you. No, but if you could fill out a card with a clerk, please, just for our records to indicate that you were, in fact, who you say you were. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we'll hear from the applicants. We have two applicants, or two cards from the applicants, for Fernando Villa and Eleanor Ord. Your options are either share the 5 minutes or have one of you speak for 5 minutes and the other one for 1 minute, however you'd like to do it.
We'll share, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'm Fernando Villa. Just for sake of clarification, it'll be shared between James Weaver, who is a principal of the applicant. I think we indicated that in the card. And I will speak as the representative. We'll share the time. Eleanor Ord, I think, signed a public speaker card.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thanks for allowing us to speak here today, sir. I'm JT Weaver. I'm the Regional Director for Operations for GEO in the Western region. GEO is seeking to partner with the community to provide residential reinterest center in this location for the purpose of transitioning people from prison back to the neighborhood. This service will provide a gap fill for a significant situation that occurs right now, and that is that people are releasing directly from prison directly to the street and with no transitional services at all in that area. We are the largest provider of reinterest services for government agencies nationwide, and that's to include 4 in California, 2 in Northern California, and 2 here in the LA area. Research is clear that people that transition from prison to the street do a lot better, and they're less likely to recidivate if they do come through a step-down program. Our services and our programs include job development, educational assistance, vocational training programs, substance abuse treatment, and monitoring and case management accountability. The facility operates in a closed fashion in the sense that the individuals are only allowed to leave under very strict accountability practices, and they're not allowed to loiter or be absent from the facility otherwise than an approved program-related activity. It's our hope that you will support our efforts here today. We plan to open a 140-bed facility and serve individuals that have been found suitable for community-based placement, and they're serving the last 4 to 12 months of the sentence. We've, through our outreach efforts, have gotten tremendous support from the community, to include the Empowerment Congress Central Area Neighborhood Development Council, the Area 1 Leadership Council, members of the 7th Street Area Community Police Advisory Board and a number of residents in the community and neighbors to the facility. GEO is a partner in community revitalization. We have a program in San Francisco that is located in the heart of a revitalization area, and we're partnering with the city to assist them in reaching their revitalization efforts at that location. GEO also, as part of this, is willing to support the community partnership through the creation of a $50,000 community benefit fund, which could be used for economic development or any other activities that would further the development of the community. It's our intention to provide tangible support to the community by creating a community relations advisory board, be active in the neighborhood council, and also be involved with the schools and other organizations in the community.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, Fernando Villa, also on behalf of the applicant, I just have a few comments to add. We asked the committee to please recommend approval of the Planning Commission's decision to approve the CUP and to deny the appeal. The Planning Commission found, in making its unanimous decision to approve, that the Bridgeback facility will provide essential services to the community. James Weaver just described what those are. They will go a long way to prevent homelessness, to prevent substance abuse, to prevent a return of life to a life of crime. The Commission also found that the existing structure is uniquely suited to the proposed use and has operated without incident since 1982. A facility of the stripe that we're asking this committee to recommend has been in operation since 1982. After 2009, when it stopped operating, obviously that changed things. One of the things, the features of this type of use is that, in fact, it reduces criminal activity. It reduces the type of activity that the appellant describes exists now. Why does that exist now? Because the facility is not operating now, has not operated since 2009. When it did operate, criminal activity disappeared. It was a safe, secure facility. The Commission found that this use is completely compatible with the surrounding area. The appellant notes or indicates that this is not a good location. It should be in an industrial zone, but in fact the Commission found that precisely the opposite is true. This project needs to be close to a commercial and residential area where essential services such as housing, such as jobs, such as community relationships with the family are essential to make this program a success. That's how this works. The appellant describes a commercial use as a better use, but in fact, as she herself acknowledged, due to poor economic conditions, many businesses have fled the area. The owners themselves try to sell it to other property owners or buyers, and nobody else could. But thank you very much for this opportunity. This is a citywide concern. We ask this committee to support it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Detective Washington.
Good afternoon. I'm Cedric Washington, a detective with the Los Angeles Police Department, and I've been a detective for a little over 20 years. Also worked in the area of Vernon and Western, the area that this gentleman is talking about, for about 16 years, and I've done a lot of enforcement, both uniform and plainclothes and undercover in the area. Just recently, in 2013, I was instrumental in abating one of the properties that Cheryl had showed, the two-story building on the, I believe it's the northeast corner, which was a medical marijuana dispensary. I was able to send or covertly purchase marijuana from that location without the proper credentials as required, and ultimately the city attorney's office abated that location. In addition to that, there has been a number of murders and shootings on the corner, as Cheryl pointed out to you guys on this on the presentation that she did. As recent as, I think, within the last couple of nights, there was actually a murder on the corner in that area. So with that being said, there's a lot of activities going on, illegal activities going on in the area, which include 2 medical marijuana dispensaries that I'm not sure if they're actually permitted by the city to be there, one of which being operated by a person that I actually arrested on felony charges, and he was convicted of for sales of cocaine, crack cocaine. I've made a number of arrests of people purchasing crack cocaine from that particular area in that corner. I frequent that area and driving by Vernon and Western, and I noticed that there's still a lot of prostitution going on in the area. There's a lot of drug sales going on in the area. And I think that by allowing a facility like this, although a good idea, But allowing a facility like this to be permitted to be in this area again, I think is going to contribute to the problems opposed to helping those that are being released on supervised release. So if this project was allowed and probation and parole was not present, or someone of law enforcement authority is not present on a daily basis at this location, it's just going to continue to contribute to the rapes, the shootings, the murders, the drug sales, the loitering, and things of that nature in that area. So I completely oppose at this time for them to have that type of facility there. And furtherance to that, the previous facility, Bridgeback, I believe is the name of it, we had, I can recall numerous problems in responding to calls at that location where they were unfriendly with law enforcement, both the staff as well as the individuals that were actually on supervised release there, meaning they wouldn't allow us to enter the facility, and they wouldn't allow us to have contact with the people that were being called. People call the police on. So if that's an indicator of how this facility is going to be, I would further oppose that for that location.
Great. Thank you very much, and thank you for your work on behalf of the residents of this city. We'll now go through public comment. We have a number of public speakers. We will call 3 up at a time to help expedite the time by which people would come up to speak. Kareem Zaman, Ulysses Hernandez, Reverend Theodore Payne.
I'm Reverend Payne. I don't know where the other. Hello, Theodore W. Payne IV is my name. I'm the lead pastor of Bryan Temple AME Church, which is located in the heart of the Vernon Corridor. As was stated by numerous people just moments ago, we are daily dealing with the disease of violence and poverty in this community. Just 2 days ago, there was a homicide. And so ultimately, we desire a change in our community. There are numerous organizations, houses of faith, and of course the constituents who are working tirelessly and vigorously to see a complete revitalization of our neighborhood. We love it there. I grew up going to that church. My mother met my father there in that neighborhood. My grandfather served as a faith leader in that community for 35 years. We want to see it prosper. And unfortunately, with all of the crimes and things that are taking place, it is very difficult, which is why we vehemently oppose the building being placed in this neighborhood. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, if you do not wish to speak, if you just submitted a card to either support or oppose the project, you could just say that, and we'll continue on if you don't want to come up and speak. Your name, ma'am?
Eunices Hernandez.
Okay, welcome.
Hello. The GEO Group is the nation's second largest for-profit firm in the nation. Their history is riddled with violence, sexual abuse, medical neglect, and inmate deaths. We support the idea of operating and developing reentry services, but please don't mistake that with supporting a GEO facility. The location picked for this facility is surrounded by violence, prostitution, loitering, and potential triggers, such as a marijuana dispensary and a liquor store. The intent behind the creation of this facility is to make money. We need to invest in programs that already exist in that area that are doing the work to help some of the most vulnerable people in society reintegrate back into our communities. Please don't allow the creation of this facility at this location. We really want to help people, and reentry is one of the most sensitive populations that exist. It leads it can trigger homelessness and a lot of other obstacles that we're facing as a community. So please rethink this. Thank you.
Thank you. Kareem Zaman, Leonard Delpit, and Benjamin Toney.
Hello, my name is Kareem Zaman. I am opposing this project. I think it's wrong for the parolees, and it's also wrong for the neighborhood. I have the unique perspective of being, my office is literally on the 1600 block, 1 block away from this proposed site. And to give you an example, yesterday I actually witnessed a murder across the street at one of the medical marijuana doctor referral places. if you want to put parolees in an environment where there's drugs, prostitution, gang war, all the vices that'll send them back to jail, I think this is the location. So I think it's wrong for both them and also the neighborhood. That's my time. Thank you.
Leonard Delpit, Benjamin Toney.
Yes, first of all, I would like to say if it's possible for the chair to extend me 5 minutes. I'm a neighborhood council board member in the area, and if it's possible, I would like to speak. I may take 2.5 minutes, but I think I would go over 1 minute just on what I say. So if you can.
Yeah, we just have to be fair with everybody.
Okay, well, no problem. Let me begin my minute.
Yeah,
Good afternoon, Los Angeles City Council members and members to the Planning, Land Use, and Management Committee. My name is Leonard Delpit. I am a current and active board member to the Neighborhood Council in the area. I'm area rep number 1. And after 2 Neighborhood Council board meetings that had over 30 to 40 community members, which didn't have Ms. Branch or didn't have the detective at the meeting, and after 1 community breakfast meeting that had over 150 community members, as well as our neighborhood council board that didn't have the detective from LAPD or Mrs. Branch there. We asked tough questions at our neighborhood council board meetings. The community asked tough questions at our neighborhood council board meetings, and we issued a letter of support in support of this project. It was a very long deliberation, but we asked tough questions, and we voted unanimously to support this project, to come into our community, because we felt, and I wish I could have read the letter, that it had a great community redevelopment piece to it and great economic value to an area that's in dire need of community
Thank you very much.
Leonard, you could submit the letter to us.
Oh,
So
thank
it's
you
part
very
of the
much.
Yeah, thank you. Benjamin Toney, Tanisha Denavd, Andres Ramirez, Kim Mcgill. Welcome.
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Benjamin Toney. I'm an organizer with the community organization SCOPE, Strategic Concepts and Organizing and Policy Education. SCOPE is a 23-year-old institution based in South LA that seeks to empower South LA residents through community organizing. SCOPE and its members advocate for job and workforce policy, for investments in social services and infrastructure to improve our climate and our health, and to make sure that we have access to much-needed programs and services. To that note, the need for reentry services is definitely present in South LA, but we're actually here to support the appeal of this decision because we don't find GEO Group to be a responsible steward of those services with a track record of human rights violations and with the inherent conflict of interest that comes as their structure prioritizing profits. We really want to see responsible community-based solutions. We really want to see investment in the people who are already doing that work at the ground level in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Tanisha Denard, Andres Ramirez.
Good afternoon. My name is Tanisha Denard with the Youth Justice Coalition, and I wanted to say that we oppose to the motion, although we do not deny that there is a need for reentry services and stuff like that. But as stated before, there are a lot of community organizations that are doing the services that could use the funding instead of building more places like this where the services are already being done. I would actually suggest that they use the money to build more preventative services like youth development centers and stuff like that to prevent more young people from even getting into jail in the first place, so that there wouldn't be so many people that have to get out in regards to reentry. I'm also not surprised that a company that has a private prison industrial complex will put this place right in the middle of where there's a lot of triggers such as the medical stop and liquor store that were stated before, because I don't know what makes them think that somebody that's in recovery won't walk outside and see a liquor store and won't be triggered, or somebody that's in recovery won't walk outside and get asked if they want to buy something, they won't be triggered. So that's very worrisome. And also, Member Harris, we did not appoint you to bring the prison and industrial complex into our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Andres Ramirez, Kim Mcgill.
Good afternoon. My name is Andres Ramirez. I'm also here on behalf of SCOPE. I'm here also in support of the appeal. Like many folks have said, there's definitely a need for reentry in the community. However, we do not trust a for-profit organization to come to our community to take away resources that are meant to benefit local members of the community for their bottom line. There's plenty of organizations and nonprofits that exist that are already working with the reentry population, that have a track record in Los Angeles, and they should be the ones that will be doing a project like this. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Kim Mcgill, Juan Peña, Maritza Galvez, and Janice from Calawan.
Good afternoon. My name is Kim Mcgill from the Youth Justice Coalition. All of us at the YJC have been locked up, or our family members have been. Myself, first time I was locked up was at the age of 12. Last time I was locked up was about a year and a half ago. And I've experienced lockup in most of LA County's jails for women as well as in the juvenile facilities here. I urge you not to use a prison construction and a prison manufacturing entity to also run community-based services. It's completely an antithesis. The two services don't coincide. For example, the violence that I saw in the juvenile halls and jails, both here and in the South Bronx, pales in comparison to the violence that's been reported in the facilities run by GEO, formerly Wackenhut. Similarly, we know that nationwide and worldwide, GEO has 77 facilities with 81,000 beds. To bring a huge prison manufacturing entity to South Central further devastates our communities, which has been ground zero for mass incarceration in the United States. If you go to the top of my community, which is the 105 freeway, our highest point, and you look east, you see the women's jail, the largest women's jail in the nation. You look north, you see the largest men's central jail in the nation. Let's not make this the largest private reentry facility in the nation. Thank you.
Juan Peña, Maritza Galvez, and Janice from Calawan.
Hello, my name is Juan Peña. I'm organizing with the Youth Justice Coalition, and we all know this location is not ideal for anyone for re-entry purpose or anything like that. Many of my family members, my father, my mother's, many of my uncles and my aunts have been going back to the system many times throughout their whole lives because of the locations where they have been dropped off or different places that they have to go. And there's many resources in the community and groups that have been doing this for many years now, and they're not getting the funding. This money should be relocated to them. Thank you.
Thank you. Maritza Galvez.
Hi, my name is Maritza Galvez. I'm with the Youth Justice Coalition. The clear choice of location for this reentry is basically shows the lack of knowledge and the lack of community of information. If there's plenty of groups out in Los Angeles and South Central that have been doing this work for years. All of us are none. Susan Burden is here, actually. People that know the community, people that have been doing this work for a really long time, that have literally lived this work. GEO has, you could just literally search GEO human rights, and all their violations come up. We don't want Councilmember Harris Dawson, we did not elect you to bring the prison industrial complex into our community, and it's as simple as that. Look to the people that know it, look to the people that have been doing work in the community, and look to the people that literally have lived it, because GEO only represents the needs of private prisons.
Janice from Calawan, Camila Moore, Eric Dixon, Joseph Villela.
Good afternoon. Hello, my name is Janice Rand Calawan, and I'm a homeowner, and I live close to the halfway house that is being proposed. This is a really high crime area, and I know this because a friend of mine's son was shot so badly that he had to, at the Master Burger, which is known as Murder Burger, and he was shot so badly that he had to retrain himself for another kind of work because he couldn't stand up. There's a marijuana dispensary. Everyone has told you about the problems and the problem businesses in this neighborhood and in this corner and in this. And yesterday I was driving through and I saw the yellow tape and I saw that there had been a shooting, heard the helicopters, and also saw a lot of people who really kind of had that look of that gang look with a lot of different colors on, and they were just standing around looky-looing at the murder that had just happened, at the shooting that had just happened. The city of Los Angeles has neglected South LA in terms of basic planning. Please do your best to make this a crime-free area by not supporting
Great. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Kimala Moore, Eric Dixon.
Hi, my name is Angela Moore, and I am the daughter of Roy Evans. He is the founder of Bridgeback that's been there for over 30 years. He died recently. Before he died, he was contacted by Cheryl Branch regarding selling the property to her. He told them, along with my stepmother, Carolyn Evans, that the property had already been committed to Gio, that Roy had chosen Gio because of the track record, a 5-year relationship with him. Roy did not lightly go into the decision to choose Gio. Gio had a whole lot to offer and still has a lot to offer. That neighborhood, yes, I work 200. We have 200 yards from there. We have a huge problem around the building because it is empty. The degradation that you see came because of the emptiness that is there. Cheryl Branch again spoke that she had showed an interest in purchasing the building not more than a month ago. At that time, we told her it was again committed. So I'm not sure. I'm baffled because Cheryl was also a partner. Not a partner. She said to me that Roy Evans was my mentor. If Roy Evans was your mentor, and for whatever reason he didn't choose you, he chose Gio, then you need to honor that and recognize that. I'm baffled because this is what she wanted to do on this site with him for all of the years that happened, back in 2006 on. In 2011, when she sought out the facility, she did not say at that time that she was indeed interested in anything else but setting up a reentry program. When she asked a month ago, she didn't say about any interest of anything else but the same kind of program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Eric Dixon, Joseph Villela, James T. Weaver, and Carolyn Evans.
Good afternoon. My name is Eric Dixon. I'm from Los Angeles Consistory number 26, which is a block south of Vernon Western. Los Angeles Consistory 26 is a part of the Masonic organization Prince Hall Masons. And we do a lot of community work, and so we are against this decision as well. Some of the people just mentioned the murder that occurred yesterday. In addition, there is prostitution that regularly happens right in this neighborhood. And the Obama School is a block south of that. So I definitely am opposed to this, and I hope that you would oppose it as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Joseph Viejo, James Weaver, Carolyn Evans.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Joseph Villela here representing CHIRLA, the Coalition for Humane Migrant Rights in Los Angeles. CHIRLA supports the spirit of development. The development of transitional living facilities, reentry programs are important for the well-being of individuals who have contact with the criminal justice system. In our analysis, there are two important factors about these facilities. One, location, and two, who's operating them. In our analysis, GEO has a bad track record in regards to detention centers related to immigrants. In 2012, workers at the Adelanto Detention Center were accused of neglect following the death of an immigrant due to health conditions. Furthermore, in July of 2015, 20 members of the Congressional Delegate of Congress sent a letter to leadership within the Homeland Security as well as the Department of Justice, voicing their concerns about the facilities that are managed by GEO. CHIRLA urges the reconsideration of the initial approval of this plan and furthermore supports resources for this community. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. James Weaver, Carolyn Evans. You spoke already, correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
We would like to have time to rebut if possible.
That's not allowed in these hearings, though. Thank you. Carolyn Evans, Angela Moore. Did you speak already, Angela Moore? Yes, right. You got another extra card
Good
here.
afternoon, panel. Thank you for allowing this opportunity. I'm Carolyn Evans, and I was married to Roy for 30 years. Our family is the owner of the property on Vernon Avenue. I would first like to say how shocked and surprised that we were that Cheryl Branch filed the appeal. On numerous occasions, Cheryl contacted us regarding the property status and always expressed an interest in either opening up a reentry facility at that location or on the behalf of someone that she was working with. our family has been in negotiations with GEO since approximately 2011. Uh, the property has been vacant since '09, and we feel that if the property is not sold, it would create a tremendous hardship for our family. This is private property. Also, we are also
Thank you,
very
Ms. Evans.
interested in maintaining my husband's legacy. He
Ms.
worked
Evans, your
for
time is up.
Bridgeback for 40 years, and
Ms.
his
Evans.
legacy is very important.
Ms. Evans.
Thank you.
Thank you. Angela Moore, Montoya Marshall, Rachel Menzler.
Just point of clarification, did you call Camila Moore earlier when Angela Moore spoke? Maybe I'm just trying to clear up the confusion.
I don't have another Moore. No.
Okay, I'll just wait then. Thank you.
Are you Angela Moore?
No, Angela went up.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, I'm a federal prisoner, and I am at 94E11 South Central, and the program works for me. I don't rob, I don't steal, and we are in a bad neighborhood, sir, and it don't matter where it is, it depends on us. And I probably don't look like I am a criminal, but I am still in custody. And people are judging us because of the crimes that we commit. And if you guys just give us a chance, we do change. Thank you. And my name is Mrs. Marshall.
Ma'am, your name was Angela Moore, correct? Ma'am? You are, okay. You're Montoya Marshall. Yeah, and I did call earlier a Camilla Moore, which I think you're correct. A Camilla Moore came up, and that was Angela Moore, and now Camilla Moore is you. Great.
Great, thank you. So my name is Camila Moore. I'm representing the African Black Coalition. Some of you may have heard about the African Black Coalition. Just this past month, we were able to lobby the University of California system to divest $30 million from GEO, CCA, and G4S. And so I'm here to speak out against this proposal. I grew up 3 minutes away from the proposed facility, and every time I drive through my neighborhood, I always say to myself, why hasn't this neighborhood changed in the past 15, 20 years since I was a kid to now? I'm a graduate of UCLA. And now it sucks that I'm here advocating against a facility that promotes the reentry of people, which is great, but at the expense of GEO, which their only priority is their bottom line. Their only priority is to make a profit. And there are so many organizations in this room today that have been doing this work for decades, even before GEO was even founded, that the Los Angeles City could really look into to make sure that we invest in those communities and those organizations to make sure that Black and brown and vulnerable communities, please don't do that, that's disrespectful, to make sure that Black
your time
and
is
brown
up, ma'am. Thank you very much.
To make sure that Black and brown people are finally
your time is up,
liberated.
ma'am. Thank you very much. And if you do that again, ma'am, we can't allow you to
I'll
speak
only
again.
comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Rachel Menzler, Damian Williams, Medina Adele.
Sure. Thank you, Rachel Kensler. I'm with GEO Reentry Services. I'm not going to go into detail on the allegations that have been put forth here today, but they are baseless, and all of them were proven false by independent government investigation, not by anything that our company has done. This is about reentry, and contrary to what may have been spoken here, we have more than 30 years of experience providing these services. As you've seen from materials that were provided, our programs have been shown to reduce the likelihood of reoffense by anywhere from 30 to 50%, which is a pretty significant statistical reduction in crime. And in this particular location, we sought out support from the community as well as also obtain the support and agreement of the LAPD, of the local LAPD, because they recognize that having not only that building, but having a building where there'll be 24-hour security on site, there is security cameras, and where we are not allowing loitering or anyone else around that facility, and where all of their comings and goings are monitored, would actually be a benefit to reducing crime in that area. Thank you.
Thank you. Dyrone Williams, Medina Adele.
Hello, my name is Davon from the Youth Justice Coalition. Yeah, there are bad health environments, but more important to that, it is a conflict of interest for them to have these transitional housings when they own private prisons. It's a conflict of interest. It's like a revolving door in my vision. There's a lot of community organizations out here who offer these type of services, and the money and funding should go there, so they are directed into a positive life path. Thank you.
Thank you. Medina Adele, Doris Evans, Pastor Terry Wilson.
My name is Medina Adele. I'm actually the architect for the GEO Group. I've actually worked with the GEO Group for the past 8 years. And on 2 other facilities, one is Marvin Gardens, South LA, and also the El Monte facilities that is in El Monte itself. Over the years, within that years, our GEO Group has always been very instrumental in doing improvements and constant upgrades to the facilities, making sure it's up to code, and making sure the improvements and the sustainability aspects of it is kind of brought up to current standards. The unique situation that we also have here for Bridgeback is it's been a vacant facility for the last almost over 5 years. And in that instance, we are actually going to be able to come in and actually do a complete improvement on the facility in terms of maintenance and upgrades, and as well as improving some of its aesthetics and the exterior aspects of it. We also, GEO Group is also very intent on bringing up to code where feasible in terms of accessibility, seismic upgrades, which we know is one of the issues here. And so I'm also here to answer any questions on the building improvements. Thank you.
Thank you. Doris Evans, Pastor Terry Wilson.
Thank you. My name is Doris Evans. I'm the ex-wife of Roy Evans. We started this program in 1982. This is not a new program. This program has been in this community over 30 years, doing an excellent job. I also own and operate, and I'm the principal of private schools just a block or 2 away from Bridgeback. We've been there for 30 years. Bridgeback protected this community. We never knew it was even a prison there because of the security of the parole officers, and everyone around there knew not to go near that building. I have students who take buses there. We run 7 or 8 yellow school buses in and out of that community, and Bridgeback is what we depended on. It's only been since this program closed that we see this picture here where Cheryl is using this, and this is a political issue, and I want you all to know. We know Cheryl, and we know why Cheryl is up here. Cheryl has tried to get this building herself. We don't like this, and I'm sorry. Bridgeback should stay. Roy Evans' legacy should live on. Thank you.
Thank you. Pastor Terry Wilson, Adrian Goodrich, Silas Samples, and Ronald Price.
Good afternoon. I'm Pastor Terry Wilson, pastor of Good News Missionary Baptist Church, right on the corner of Vernon and 2nd Avenue. I'm also vice president of Silver Lining of Hope, which is an organization of clergy and laypersons come together to help to end the violent crimes that are taking place in our city. I used to work there at Bridgeback with Mr. Evans. I've worked with Human Potential Consultants who took over and leased the building as well for reentry. That place there has been a blessing to the community there. The 77th Division has worked with Bridgeback, and we never had a problem with them coming in. They kept the people from loitering around the place. It has really been a blessing to the community. As a matter of fact, I brought one of the graduates from Bridgeback here who's doing a great job now in the community, managing one of the major restaurants in our city, just doing really great. So it has been a blessing to the community.
Thank you. Adrian Goodrich, Silas Samples.
Good afternoon. My name is Adrian Goodrich. I'm currently an AB 109 program supervisor for the Weingart Center. So I've been working in reentry for a while. One of the jobs that I did have between 2007 and 2009, I was the lead case manager at Bridgeback. One of the things we fought for was to make sure that our clients had a safe environment in which to land in. Our clients came and were able to integrate into the community because we made sure that we developed relationships, and that's what Bridgeback was about. It was about reestablishing relationships, and I'm quite confident that if Bridgeback was to reopen, that these relationships can be reestablished, that the individuals who are coming back home have a safe place to land, a secure place to land, and be able to do things like learn how to use a cell phone again. Nothing can be worked and done in a silo, so collaborative partners will be important. And as Pastor Terry says, we never had a problem. As a matter of fact, our clients couldn't wait to get back into Bridgeback and get into the facility so they could be safe.
Sheila Samples, Ronald Price, Tiffany Johnson, Susan Burton.
Good afternoon. My name is Silas Samples, and as my two mentors just spoke, right, I am one of the ones that came out of Bridgeback. I left there in 2009. I am a productive member of society now. I am not on parole or probation. I'm a manager of a multi-million-dollar business. I started it as a dishwasher. Reentry works. Everything else that they're talking about, you have to have been there. I never felt threatened at Bridgeback. Actually, I was a blood in the Crip neighborhood, and I never got approached. As for drugs, you can't hide it. If you're going to use them, you're going to use them, no matter where you're at, whether you're at Bridgeback or up in Beverly Hills. Thank you.
Thank you. Ronald Price, Tiffany Johnson, Susan Burton.
Good afternoon. My name is Ron Price. I'm a longtime member of the LA Black Workers Center in the 8th District. The LA Black Workers Center is an organization that's working in the job crisis, which over half of our community is unemployed or working poor. We're counting on this community to make a good land use decision that will improve the future of employment for those who are suffering from poverty. Councilman Harris Dawson, we did not elect you to bring the prison industrial complex to our community. No GEO. We want these resources to be put in the hands of institutions that are rooted in the community.
Thank you. Tiffany Johnson.
Hi, my name is Tiffany Johnson. I am Associate Director of a New Way of Life Reentry Project, but I'm also a recipient of reentry through a New Way of Life. And I know the importance of reentry services and how you can navigate yourself back with the help of others. However, the GO group, that is not one that should be involved in the reentry services. So GO since 1984 has profited from the federal and state policies that have led to a dramatic rise in incarceration and detention in the United States, an increase in more than 500% over the past 30 years. The GO also has a model that rests on solely incarceration. The more individuals that are locked up, the more the GO and its shareholders profit. The increase in the GO's earnings and stock prices have corresponded with the American incarceration boom and law that criminalizes a larger list of conduct and requires that those convicted serve longer sentences and are good for business. So in order for the GO group to keep profiting, they have to have the supply, which is us.
Thank you. Susan Burton, Ingrid Arde, La Kiss.
My name is Susan Burton. I am the founder and executive director of A New Way of Life Reentry Project. A New Way of Life I founded in 1998 in the community of South LA and have been providing services to women coming back into the community. I oppose GO Group coming into this community supposedly to provide reentry services. Just to name, first I'd like to ask First to Serve and A New Way of Life reentry participants to stand up and give you a look at what true reentry looks like. We are in this community and we've been in this community for decades. providing reentry service. We don't need GO Group. GO Group, lawsuit, Mississippi, barbaric and horrific conditions. Lawsuit, $40 million, woman killed in a beating. Lawsuit, GO Group, woman committed suicide after reporting rape. Class action, lawsuit, GO Group.
Thank you.
But it's all over the nation. You know, these people have been
Thank you, Ms.
profiting off of our misery. One more thing. Marquise Harris Dawson,
Thank you, Ms. Burton.
when I got off of work, I walked for you.
Thank you, Ms.
I
Burton.
called my friends for you.
Ms.
Don't
Burton.
let GO Group come into this community.
Ms. Burton, thank you very much.
Hello.
I'm sorry, Ms. Byrne, your time is up. If you could give that to the clerk, give that to the clerk. Thank you. And the reason the speakers have 1 minute to speak. The reason I ask you to end your conversation, your comments after 1 minute, is I'm trying to be consistent with everybody and be fair with everybody. So, Ingrid Artie, thank you.
Archie.
Archie.
My name is Ingrid Archie. I am a current resident at A New Way of Life. Using the worst neighborhood as a guinea pig to provide a CDCR institution as a way of reentry is the wrong answer. The right answer is First to Serve, another project that provides resources in the neighborhoods from people who are returning home from prison. Also, A New Way of Life is the right answer for providing resources for people returning home from prison. Just 6 months ago, I returned home from prison. I am gainfully employed. I am being reunited back with my children. I am a productive member of society and also a student at Pasadena City College. That is the right answer. Providing people who have resources in a home, not giving our youth the mirror that we need CDCR to rehabilitate us in our own neighborhoods. We rehabilitate ourselves in our own neighborhoods, not the California Department of Corrections. Thank you.
LaKiss.
Good afternoon. My name is LaKiss. I'm also a member of New Way of Life. At the end of the day, the bottom line, is it profit? Does it profit you or does it help the community? If GEO is about profit, then of course they're only there for profit. They're not there for the community. I don't care if they give $50 million or if they give $50,000. That's because on the back end, they're going to make $5 million. They're not going to spend any money where they're not going to make any money. That makes no sense because they're for profit at the end of the day.
Mary Sutton, Kelly Torino, and Brian Barajas.
Hi, my name is Mary Sutton. I'm a student in the MA in Urban Sustainability program at Antioch University, and I'm a member of the LA No More Jails Coalition for almost a decade now. I oppose the facility based on the fact alone that is being proposed by the GEO Group. The GEO Group is one of the two largest private prison builders in the country, and it's contradiction that they would have an interest in providing true rehabilitative services, while at the same time they're trying to build contracts in more prisons and jails. It just doesn't make any sense. And we need reentry facilities, employment, economic opportunities, and housing all over LA County, even in this area, so I believe that's not my arguing point. And I wish the City Council would impress upon the LA Board of Supervisors that the AB 109 money, which there's like $180,000 a year for the past 5 years, and less than 20% is going for services in the communities. And this is what we need. There's tons of nonprofits, faith-based organizations that can do the work.
Thank you. Kelly Tozero. Sir, are you Kelly?
No, I mean, you call Wayne, right?
No, we haven't called you yet.
Oh, okay.
We haven't called you yet. Is it Kelly here? Terzino? No? Okay. Brian Barajas, Tiffany Johnson, Claudia Bautista.
I turned in for your offices a
leaflet entitled, Obama's speech will be a big lie, don't let it stand. Now, how is this reference to your activities for people who are trying to go back the way of life, or so-called? That is to say, how do you have a society that actually can maintain the peace on the street, shall we say, but also how can you actually have a society that understands that in order for the council to actually commit its dutiful duty, shall we say, to the American people, what is it that we have to understand? One of the things that we're promoting is financial assistance, not just to the city, to the state, but the whole entire country, and assisting the entire world. It's a societal collapse.
Thank you, Mr. Barajas. Tiffany Johnson, Claudia Batista, Diana Zuniga.
Hi, my name is Diana Zuniga. I'm one of the statewide co-coordinators for Californians United for a Responsible Budget. I think we're having two different conversations right now. We're having a conversation about GO taking over reentry services in South LA, and we're talking about the need for reentry in South LA and throughout Los Angeles County and Los Angeles City. I really hope today that you guys don't make a decision to allow GO to take over and really take over reentry services that we know are necessary within all of our communities. Specifically, I know that you guys have been having a conversation about housing and the need for housing and the need to have affordable and supportive housing throughout LA City. This is the need in South LA as well, and I hope that we can go in that direction instead of allowing a private corporation that's known for human rights abuses, that's known for really horrendous circumstances that people are living in, to take over our reentry services. We have Susan Burton here. We have several other service providers that could do the work and that are doing the work and need the facilities and need the funding, not a GO group. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike Neely, Edna Monroy, Wayne from Encino.
Before I begin, I'd like to clarify and make sure that everybody understands that the comments are coming strictly from me and not me as a member of the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority. I'm not speaking for the authority. Thank you. Having said that, I was planning on coming here and just being quiet and listening to what was going on. But once I started hearing the talk about two things, number one is that this facility has been empty since 2009. That's just not true. There have been a number of programs that have been operating in this facility since 2009. Most of them have been homeless programs. They have been year-round shelter programs. We did lose the 125 beds from the homeless system because the programs were shut down as a result of the negotiations with GEO. The other piece that I wanted to make sure that we're clarified about is that there was an attack on Cheryl Branch relative to she's the one that wanted to buy the building. I know for a fact that there have been at least 4 other entities that have wanted to purchase the building, and those offers have all been turned down. What I want to make sure that we understand is that it's not about Bridgeback. This is not about this situation. This is merely about the fact that we need other services in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Edna Monroy, Wayne from Edna Monroy, are you here? Yep. Wayne from Encino, Anthony Willis, and Christina Acuna.
Hi, I'm Edna Monroy with California Immigrant Youth Justice Alliance, and I'm also an undocumented immigrant. South Central LA has been my home for the last 14 years. That's where I went to school, that's where I learned English, and that's how I found my passion for organizing and social justice. It is not a lie, it's not a myth, right? It's a very strong reality that South Central LA has no resources. We are criminalized. As immigrant youth, as black and brown youth, as women, we have very little resources. We have very little support. And so our youth are pushed to extremes, right, to survive. And so we already know these abuses happening in other detention centers, for-profit detention centers that are run by GEO, such as Adelanto Detention Center, where so many human abuses, so many physical, mental, and sexual abuses continue to happen. And so we need resources to rehabilitate our community members, but GEO is not the answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Wayne from Encino, Anthony Willis, and Christina Acuna.
Yes, Gio, just go out to that hellhole out there in Adelanto. Rancho Road off the 395. Now they be coming to CD8. Marquise, they be coming down there to the ghetto. We got to get ourselves a Geo. Adelanto got a Geo. Everybody else got a Geo. Now you got to get you a Geo. You got to get the EO in the GO to get the money in the ghetto. That's what you got to do, Marquise.
Mr.
Now
Wayne,
we put
Mr.
you.
Wayne, speak to the.
We put you on the
This
council.
time, please, Mr. Wayne.
We put you on the council to be fair.
Wayne, you know the rules. Please do not speak specifically to a
right.
council member.
But you're
speak
taking
in general
my
comments
time.
and stay on the subject. Thank you.
Okay, I was arrested November the 10th by Charlie Beck, so I know what it is to be like that. Marquise, vote no. Don't sell out. Don't become one of those house beeps. Vote no on this fucking thing. This thing is bullshit. Vote no on this shit.
Thank you. Anthony Willis and Christina Acuna.
Hello, I'm standing here as a longtime community member. Family has been owning houses in this community since the 1950s and 1960s. And I stand here as an ex-gang member, co-founder of Teamworks Foundation. We've done work with Mayor Villaraigosa's office for the GRID program. And we are also standing here in representation of Solve It, Source of Lost Virtues and Intelligence. This has become a fight between families and financial institutions in order to put something into the community that is not needed, because when Bridgeback was there, I can attest to Bridgeback being broke into, Bridgeback having people AWOL and come back, let back into, and the program only festered the environment of criminal activity. It was never a solution. It was only a recidivism door. And we ask that you guys please take into consideration that there are programs for the youth that are available if this is not the best situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Last speaker, Christina Acuna.
Hello, my name is Christina Acuna. I just got out from a sentence of 15 to life. I did 10 years. I've been out 6 days. I'm in a new way of living. And just thinking of going to GO would make me want to relapse because I'm an alcoholic. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. That concludes our public comment. Mr. Harris Dawson.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. And let me begin by thanking everybody on both sides of this issue who came, who took the time out of their day to come, but also, more importantly, took the time to share their stories with us and make their stories a part of the process. You are the tapestry that makes up who Los Angeles is and who we have the capacity to become. And so we appreciate all of you for that. We certainly want to acknowledge that we heard and are sensitive to the concerns about for-profit prisons. We are sensitive about the particularities of the group proposing to go into this location. As strongly as I feel about those issues, I do want to make a note that those are not issues that this body deliberates over this afternoon. We deliberate over a land use decision and whether or not this is an appropriate place, a place that's consistent with the rules and the vision that the city of Los Angeles has set up for our community. And so we take into account both what the letter of the specific plan and the other rules that we have, what those policies are, and we take into account the specific conditions that we find at this particular moment. So we don't make a decision based on what was happening in 1982 or even in 2009 or what the rules were then or what the rules were in 2009. We have a specific plan today that our office believes, and there are several concurrent opinions, violates the spirit and the letter of the South Central Specific Plan that was adopted back in 2000. And so, again, understanding the fragility of our community and how important these plans are. In our community, following a plan or not following a plan oftentimes means life or death. A lot of times in this body, following a plan or not following a plan means someone's inconvenienced by noise or they have a bad odor in our community. We all know that if you put what we call crime magnets in areas that are likely to attract crime, you make a bad situation worse. We're preparing for this hearing. I get a alert on my phone that there's been another homicide on this intersection. Just this morning, we had a presentation on human trafficking. Vernon and Western in the 8th District is the epicenter for trafficking. And so there are efforts underway to make that not the case and to make those things go away. We want to have planning policy that fits in with those efforts and helps those efforts move forward. Lastly, I would say I want to communicate all the sensitivity in the world to the importance of reentry services. Before I came here, I was a community organizer. We fought for more reentry services. We fought for reentry services for women. We fought for reentry services in lieu of jail time. A second chance is one of the most precious and sacred things that we can give to each other as a society. In our community, it's absolutely essential. It is so sacred that, in my opinion, you absolutely have to get it right. And you have to do it in a way that has demonstrated results over time. And any reasonable person that stands at the corner of Vernon and Western for even 5 minutes knows that this makes no sense. And so with those things in mind, I put forward a motion and ask my colleagues to support the granting of this appeal for Ms. Shrobranch.
Second. Thank you. It's been moved by Mr. Harris Dawson to grant the appeal and overturn the determination of the Planning Commission, correct? That's of the approval of the conditional use permit. So the conditional use permit will, there's a motion to deny. It's been seconded by Mr. Cedillo. Any other questions or comments on the panel? Okay, seeing none, with no objections, so ordered. Thank you. The disposition of this item is, it ends here, or does this go to full council? And when will it be in council if it goes to full council?
It'll be in council on the 20th.
On the 20th, this will go to council with a recommendation from the committee, vote of the committee to grant the appeal and deny the CUP. Correct. Okay. Thank you. So ordered. Next item, item number 2, please.
Item 2, Councilman, is a Planning Commission report recommending the historic Broadway sign district, a new supplemental use district.
Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, if as you walk out, if you could please keep it quiet or your conversations to a minimum. We still have some business to conduct. And colleagues, on this item, we hear a piece of policy coming from my Bringing Back Broadway initiative that has been more than 5 years in the making. Yes, things happen here pretty quick. My staff and I have been working on this very closely with many stakeholders and a lot of people to thank, but at this time I want to ask the Planning Department to please give a brief overview on this item. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Council members. Brian Eck with the Department of City Planning, here to present the historic Broadway Sign District. So as you mentioned, this ordinance was developed through a collaboration, a working group collaboration which included members from the Council Office, the City Planning Department, the Office of Historic Resources, the Los Angeles Conservancy, and various other Broadway stakeholders. The City Planning Commission recommended approval of the proposed ordinance during their meeting of August 13th of this year. The Commission initially considered the item on June 11th, requested several revisions at that time, which are reflected in today's proposed ordinance. So briefly, a sign district is one of our city's zoning tools and is intended to enhance the character of an area by addressing allowable sign standards. At its core, the Broadway Sign District is a comprehensive set of standards for the design, placement, operation for all signs on Broadway, which have been carefully tailored for the unique setting of the area. It allows sign types and designs such as blade and open panel roof signs that have traditionally been found on Broadway and contribute to the character of the street, but would otherwise not be allowed by the code. It also includes incentives to spur building revitalization and streetscape improvements. The sign district also represents the third part of a regulatory package for the area aimed at protecting and enhancing Broadway, including the Broadway Community Design Overlay and the Broadway Streetscape Master Plan. Together, these three guiding documents will continue to help revitalize Broadway and reinforce its role as a regional entertainment and shopping destination and create a cohesive design aesthetic between buildings, signage, and the public realm. So as we all know, Broadway is one of our city's true treasures, and this initiative will help put the final regulatory piece in place to help protect and enrich the character of the district. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your work on this very important piece of the Bringing Back Broadway initiative. We have several public comments. Adrian Scott Fine, Noah Strauss, Shiraz Tangri, Morgan J. Bush. Adrian Scott Fine, there you are.
Good afternoon, council members. Adrian Scott Fine with the Los Angeles Conservancy. I was part of the working group in helping to craft the initial ordinance. We're very supportive of this in terms of it providing a balance between the need for preservation but also allowing for sign development to occur in an appropriate manner on Broadway. We're in support of this. We're in support of some of the proposed revisions that I think you'll hear about in terms of the ordinance that reflect much of the thinking of the working group initially. Thank you.
Noah Strauss and Shiraz Tangri.
Good afternoon. Noah Strauss from the Historic Core Business Improvement District. We're a nonprofit that's tasked with providing services for the historic core of downtown LA, including Broadway between 4th Street to 9th Street. We were part of this process over years to craft this document. We would like to see the guidelines implemented as originally designed and submitted. Thank you.
Thank you. Shiraz Tangri, Morgan J. Bush.
Good afternoon, council members. Shiraz Tangri of Myers Navi. I'm also here as the general counsel for the LA Streetcar Project. Streetcar, like Broadway, is part of, streetcar, like signage, is a big part of Broadway's history and hopefully its future as well. I was part of the working group that worked on these. One of the things that we did with the guidance of the Conservancy was look at what Broadway used to look like historically as a very unique district, and part of the vibrancy in Broadway's heyday really was very active, engaging signage, commercial signage, but also for the entertainment as well. We'd like to see that brought back. Broadway is a unique place, and it deserves unique regulations. The regulations that were crafted here over the course of a couple of years were very much in the grain and looked very specifically at Broadway's needs, and we'd ask that those regulations be adopted as they were originally proposed. Thank you.
Thank you. Morgan J. Bush, Wayne. Welcome.
Hi, Morgan J. Bush with Omgivning Architects. We're a local architecture office in downtown LA. We have about 100 projects specifically in downtown LA. We specialize in historic adaptive reuse and theaters. And we have 16 projects, active projects on Broadway right now. So I was part of the working group that worked on this, and we looked at a lot of our projects and did case studies with these projects. We have buildings that range from 40 feet wide to 350 feet wide on Broadway. So a lot of the recommendations in terms of number of signs and dimensions between signs and things like that were looked at with these, varying different building sizes. So we felt that as a group they were fair, and a lot of our clients are excited to see these changes made on Broadway. Thanks.
Great. Thank you very much. Wayne?
Yes, this is one of these Wayne from Encino, Jose Weezer agreeable issues. It's good to restore historic Broadway and the signs, and that's all part of it. They're going to put that little choo-choo train through there, but they're going to be assessing property taxes for the choo-choo train, but they're going to build it. I would also say let's get Angel's Flight working again. I mean, we really should get that thing working again, because it really looks horrible when it's not working. So let's do that. But historic sign restoration, I've seen it in CD1. I've seen it in 14. I've seen it in parts of 10, and it's good. You get those neon signs, you know, the way they're supposed to be. And if you want to see great restoration, go to downtown Glendale, and you'll see some great stuff that they did down there too. So with that, it's a no-brainer. Support it. It's great what's happening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank all the speakers who came out to support this item. Just to give a little background on this, a very dedicated group of people from the downtown community came together in the fall of 2010 to start talking about how to incentivize the reactivation of underutilized buildings along Broadway. And that discussion led to the incentives allowed in this sign district, amongst other policies. This ordinance will allow and encourage the kinds of signs that would have been typically present along Broadway during its heyday, that is neon, blade signs, old-fashioned roof signs. In fact, it's important to note that it is called the Historic Broadway Sign District because this is one of our city's most precious historic resources that we have remaining in the city of Los Angeles. And this policy allows off-site messaging in limited places, only on the open panel roof signs and painted secondary wall signs, and only after the building has been shown to meet occupancy requirements, meaning that a blighted, dormant building is not allowed to have revenue-generating signage. It also requires a compliant facade lighting program on the building and responsibility for each building's portion of the construction of our streetscape plan until it is completed. The ability to do off-site signage in this limited way will create an incentive for any building owners who have not already made plans for their building to do so, because they will soon have a way to recoup some of the investment once those plans are brought to fruition, and the plan rewards those who have already invested in Broadway too. When we started bringing back Broadway, there was a nearly 20% retail vacancy rate on the ground floor and more than 1 million square feet of space in the upper floors just gathering dust. Now that retail vacancy rate is down to between 12 and 15%, and one by one, the upper floors of these beautiful buildings are being brought back into use, either as adaptive reuse for residential, as creative office through our commercial reuse policy, or as boutique hotels. We're open to all those uses because the only way to sustain a successful ground floor district is to have activities in the upper floors. I'm very proud of this policy and everyone who contributed to it. Our property owners and businesses were involved. In fact, the working group met for several hours every other week for years at Indie Desk on Broadway, which is where the plan was largely developed. Our business improvement districts were there. Our historic experts and advocates were there. Planning staff has been great, and we're an active part of seeing this from concept to completion. And I especially want to recognize Brian Eck, Nick Marowitz-Stitch. Did I say that right? Marisic. Like that was a former Cal football coach, Marucci, something like that, right? Too. And Kevin Keller. Mariucci, there you go. That was his name, Mariucci. And I also want to thank my executive director for from bringing back Broadway, Jessica Wethington McLean. I also want to thank the City Planning Commission, which heard the policy earlier this year. A number of their suggestions made it a stronger policy, so we'll be incorporating several of their recommendations into the final draft. In other areas, we will move forward with the original June 11 draft, and in a few areas, some technical changes are being made as a middle ground. We've prepared a revision instructions for the final ordinance that we have passed out. And I hope that we could see these back on the 19th, if it's possible, Madam City Attorney, and hopefully see the final ordinance at that time with these revisions, if that's okay. Thank you. It took us 5 years to get here, so one more week I think would be okay. So thank you very much. And again, a lot of people contributed to this. I think that at the end of the day, when people look at Broadway and its potential, one of the things that's going to get it back to life where people want to see it is the sign ordinance, because not only would it illuminate it, help drive more business and people to that street, but also it will incentivize the property owners to invest in those buildings, and it's going to go a long way in making Broadway once again one of the greatest streets in the city of LA. So thank you. Nostalgia. It's not always good. Sometimes it was bad, but the old days. So thank you very much. Any other questions or comments, Mr. Fuentes? Nope. Okay. Any objections? So ordered. Okay, there you go. One in the nation. All right. Thank you very much. So ordered. We'll see final ordinance back on the 19th. We're adopting the revisions.
Okay, so we'll keep it in committee.
You'll keep it in committee.
With the directive to city attorney.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So ordered. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for all your work on this. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Next item.
The last item, Councilman, is item 9. It's an appeal by Fran Offenhauser. She's appealing various land use entitlements for a 224-unit mixed-use project in CD 13.
Can we have a presentation from staff, please, on this brief overview?
Good afternoon, council members. I'm Sergio Ibarra. I'm the planner for the project. The Hollywood Cherokee project is located at 1718 and 1722 North Las Palmas Avenue and 1719 and 1727 Cherokee Avenue. The project consists of the removal of an existing surface parking lot and the construction of a new 4 to 6-story mixed-use building ranging in height from 54 feet to 71 feet, comprised of 224 residential dwelling units, with an 11% set aside for very low-income households and 985 square feet of ground floor retail. The development will include 305 parking stalls with 4 levels of parking. On July 8th, 2015, and September 24th, 2015, a public hearing was held for the Hollywood Cherokee project, CPC-2013-521, and the associated environmental clearance, ENV-2013-522, as well as the vesting tentative track 72491-CN. The vesting tentative track was approved by the advisory agency on July 17, 2015, with a 10-day appeal period. On October 8, 2015, the City Planning Commission reviewed and recommended approval of the project with conditions. The Planning Department recommends that you uphold the actions of the City Planning Commission and deny the appeal outright. The planning staff will be available for questions, and I will be submitting our recommendation letter to you today for your review. Thank you.
Thank you. The appellant, Fran Offenhauser. Fran Offenhauser. Fran, you are up. Is the project the proponent of the project here as well? I don't see any cards. The applicant, Hollywood Cherokee Ventures. Anybody here on their behalf? You did not submit a card. You do not wish to speak? Oh, you did? Okay. Thank you. Fran Offenhauser, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you. Sorry for the delay. There were so many people in here. We stayed out in the hall. I apologize. So my name is Fran Offenhauser, and I'm here on behalf of Hollywood Heritage. And we have appealed the Planning Commission decision not with great joy at all, but because there are a number of principles involved here that we find are problematic and do not want to see a precedent set. Number one is a very wonkish question, so I'll come back to it, which has to do with the mathematics of the density calculations that the project is requesting. This is a very complex issue, but if I were to summarize it, I would say that buried in an appendix and in a footnote, it shows that this project is providing 980 square feet of commercial, and for that is getting an additional 100 dwelling units. And you may ask, why do I care? I care for 2 reasons. I care as Hollywood Heritage, as a preservation organization, that the project is in two design districts, one adjacent to the National Register Historic District on Hollywood Boulevard, nationally important district, and secondly, in the Franklin Avenue Design District, which is an area of apartment buildings that was supposed to be being protected from overscaled and inappropriate intrusions. So the issue number one of the calculation of the density, as I say, I'll come back to it if you want to get into wonkish detail. I can go into it in great detail. I wrote the code sections, and ZA did an interpretation in 2000, but the interpretation is inaccurate. So the net result is that this applicant is getting 100 extra units for providing 986 square feet of commercial in this project. The second issue, which again is a policy issue, is that the city planning department in this project makes findings that say that the project is consistent with the redevelopment plan. It's not possible, A, because it has twice the density of the highest zone that the redevelopment plan allows. And I brought all of that, again, if we want to get into wonkish detail. Number two, that the city cannot make these land use findings except in 3 cases, and none of these cases have been met. And number 3, that no one has asked the redevelopment agency. And I don't know if you're going through this in many of your cases, but the cases that I read consistently say that CRA doesn't exist, and that's not the case. As you know, as council people, the council voted to not accept the land use authorities from the redevelopment agency. So the redevelopment agency is still in force, and yet project after project, I think I've seen 12 this year, where the EIR trumpets that the redevelopment agency doesn't exist, and consequently, we can make their findings for them. That's not the case. And in this case, the findings, some of the findings that were made we disagree with. So this is a case which says we comply with the general plan. It doesn't. It's a case that says we comply with the redevelopment plan. They never asked. And we also believe that there is a zoning decondition that needed to be removed, and they haven't gone through the process to remove it. So you may say, again, why does Hollywood Heritage care? Hollywood Heritage cares deeply about the historic district and the kinds of development that surround it. And so in this case, I think this is an applicant who has tried to reach out, but we were not able to come to an agreement. There were specific things that we asked for that we seemed to find reasonable, and consequently we have felt that we had to appeal, and that the specific details of this case, if you want to get into them, mean that you cannot approve it. You can't make findings for the redevelopment agency or take steps that only the redevelopment agency is allowed to take.
Thank you very much.
I hope that made sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Greg Beck.
Can I just, I apologize. I didn't show, this is the project that we are all discussing.
Okay.
And I'll leave these in case somebody else needs them.
Great. Thank you. Greg Beck.
Good afternoon, and thank you. My name is Greg Beck. I am a member of the ownership of this property and representative of the applicant. With regard to Hollywood Heritage Representative's objections, we have filed for the record a written response to that, so I won't address specifically their concerns, but I would like to say on our behalf that we began public outreach on this project, including Mayor and former council member Garcetti's office and now Councilmember O'Farrell's office in April of 2012. We've met with the Land Use and Neighborhood Council 12 times and obtained their support. We've also met with representatives of and Hollywood Heritage themselves 5 times. And I think that by the relative lack of opposition today, we hope that represents that we've done a good job in community outreach, and hope that you would reach the same conclusion in denying Hollywood Heritage's appeal and recommending approval of our project to council. Thank you.
Thank you. John Garoto, Aaron Epstein, and Wayne.
Good afternoon. John Garoto speaking on behalf of Hollywood Heritage. For 3 decades, Hollywood Heritage has, through advocacy and hands-on preservation, informed and educated the public about how the built environment contributed to making Hollywood the entertainment capital of the world. We support the goal of preserving what is most significant in Hollywood while encouraging responsible new infill development. Our organization has listed the Hollywood Boulevard Commercial and Entertainment District in the National Register of Historic Places at the national level of significance. You may ask why Hollywood Heritage is concerned when this project does not involve demolition of a historic structure. We are concerned because projects like these ignore 30 years of planning by the redevelopment agency, which limited heights, building density, in an effort to create a well-planned and well-scaled community around the historic district. The city planning department allowed the CRA for those years to be the stricter entity in terms of land use, and those strictures are still in place today. Appropriate mitigations for this project include a reduction in height, a break in the building's center to allow light and air to surrounding properties, and we also ask that the Plum Commission refer the project back to the CRA for final evaluation as to the adherence to the set urban guidelines.
Thank you. Aaron Epstein.
Champion Real Estate is engaged in transparent and positive project discussion with Hollywood Heritage, and we thank them for that.
Okay, thank you. Aaron Epstein, Wayne, and Chris Robertson.
Thank you. I don't mean to start off with an argument, but Your Honor, I was born in East Los Angeles, Boyle Heights in 1930, not in Beverly Hills, and my name is Epstein, not Epstein. I've been a resident of Hollywood since 1934. My brother and I have owned a shopping center on Hollywood Boulevard adjacent to Las Palmas, and I was notified by the planning department that there'd be this hearing today. I know that Hollywood cannot remain like it was 50, 60 years ago. There will always be changes, but I'm here that let's not rush it so fast. I have a daughter that lives in Manhattan, across the street from Carnegie Hall. It doesn't bother her with the rushing ambulances every 2 minutes and the hustle and bustle and the traffic rushes there. But I'm saying let's try a little bit to keep Hollywood the way it should be. The CRA does say in their doctrines that we should preserve the neighboring residences around this particular project. And if this project goes through, it will just destroy the line of sight and the appearance of all this.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for listening, and God bless.
Thank you. Wayne, Chris Robertson.
Yes, I just got a call from Herman. He doesn't like this project. And he gives a shout out to Jose Huizar and Paul Krakorian. Anyway, so looking at this, it's very unclear. I can't download. There's so many documents. But when something is this voluminous comes up from a reputable appellant, this is an appellant that knows this area, not a campaign donor, not a developer, just folks living in the neighborhood. I think you should listen to them. You should sustain the appeal. You should go back and work with these people, because she's saying she's reluctant. That means they could sit down and work something out, a real compromise for everybody. And there's too much overbuilding in that district. Everybody knows it. It's overdensification, gone insane. So sustain the appeal and bring everybody together to work it out.
Thank you. Chris Robertson from CD13.
Good afternoon again. Chris Robertson, Planning Director for Councilmember Mitch O'Farrell of the 13th District. I'll keep this brief. I know it's been a long meeting. When this project was before the hearing officer, we supported it. We continue to support it today. Over the last 2 years, the applicant has worked closely with our office to refine the design to bring a high-quality contemporary design before you. The project will include 24 affordable housing units for people making less than 50% of the area median income, while the 200 market rate units will increase the city's housing stock, helping the city to address the severe housing shortage it's faced with. The inclusion of ground floor retail along with the residential above will help to activate the streetscape and increase the number of eyes on the street, creating a safer and more livable Hollywood. For these reasons, we respectfully ask you to support the project and deny the appeal. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Question for staff. The appellant notes that the project in calculating the density, that it is not consistent with the Hollywood redevelopment plan density allowance. Is that correct?
Well,
in that statement, or I mean, I'm not asking if it's correct. That's what the appellant said. I mean, that's what the appellant said. But is it?
The appellant is referring to Section 1222A18, which allows mixed-use projects that combine residential and commercial uses. Uses consistent with the R5 zone. When the R5 zone allows dwelling units with 200 square feet per unit, rather than the underlying zone, which is the R4, which is 400 square feet per unit. Moreover, irrespective of all that, the code doesn't give a limit as to the amount of commercial square footage that would be necessary to facilitate the exception that permits combination of uses to get the R5 zone and density.
Does it have to comply with the Hollywood redevelopment plan?
There was a memo issued by the governing board of the CRALA, which is a designated local authority, that deferred all land use actions to the existing general plan, community plan, and zoning ordinances. LAMC 1222A18 is one of those zoning ordinances that permits this exception.
Okay, and so that applies to all plans throughout the city as well.
There
right?
was only 5 redevelopments that this applied to. So it's Koreatown, Hollywood, I think Central City, and San Pedro. I think there might be one more.
Yeah, and this area is becoming more of a mixed-use area, correct? I mean, it's
right. So no housing is being affected by this. It's a surface parking lot now. So there's zero-foot setbacks along the frontages of Las Palmas and Cherokee. There's 7-foot and 9-foot setbacks against all other properties.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, colleagues, I'll move with the concurrence of the council district over the area as well to deny the appeal and approve the project. Are there any objections to that? No, second by Mr. Harris-Dawson. No objections, so ordered. Thank you. Next item.
Public comment, Councilman.
No public comment. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.